All right, Nana, let's start. Ready? Yeah? Everybody? Balcony ready? Chalo, where did we stop in the last class? We just went through the formula, that's it, isn't it? Okay, now, okay, let's go through it one more time, okay, and then we'll continue. Raju, there's a resound coming, see? Try to reduce that. All right, Nana. Is it okay now? Right, better. Right, guys. Hey, Mukus, see here. Raju, next class onwards, we'll ban cell phones in the class, okay? Right. Chalo. Ready? Yeah? Now, first thing is, we have seen material variances yesterday. So what we have done is that we just gone through the formula, right? Okay. Now, anyways, one more time, you people just tell me. Material cost variance will be divided into what and what? Price and usage. Usage will be divided into mix and yield. Now, this classification will come only when there is multiple raw material, right? If there are only single raw material, then you'll stop here itself. Only this will be your classification, okay? Right. And then we have seen all these formulae, okay, right? One is nothing but SQ into SP, then AQ into AP, AQ into SP, and RAQ into SP. But for ICA exams, we'll be writing what, Nana? RSQ into SP, right? That we have to keep in mind. Next, we have gone through the formulae. I told you that this formula will remain exactly the same, even for, rest of the variances as well. So therefore, once you learn this, it's going to be easy for us. That doesn't mean that we are not going to go with logics. We're going to go with logics as well. But to speed up the answers in the examination, we have to learn the formula. Okay, right. So for cost variance, what is the formula? 1 minus 2. Price variance, 3 minus 2. Usage variance, 1 minus 3. Mix variance, 4 minus 3. And yield variance, 1 minus 4. Right. After that, one by one, we have seen what is SQ, Nana? Standard quantity required for actual output. Okay, which means raw material allowed. So if it is not standard quantity of raw material required for actual output, if it is budgeted output, then eventually this cost will become what cost? Budgeted cost. You get the point? This cost will become what cost? Budgeted cost. But we know that the cost variance is the difference between standard cost and actual cost. Therefore, this is very, very, very important. Only if you take standard quantity of raw metal for actual output only, this becomes standard cost. Clear? We have seen that. Next, SP means standard price per unit of raw metal. AQ means what, Nana? Actual quantity purchased when you are calculating price variance. Okay. Actual quantity consumed when you are calculating usage variance. If there is no information with respect to the quantity purchased, then for both the variances, we'll be taking AQ consumed only. Okay. Actual quantity of raw material consumed for actual output. Next, SP is standard price, AP is actual price. This is important. What is this? RAQ. RAQ means what? Revised actual quantity, which is nothing but actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. Actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. What is that? We'll see today. Okay, yesterday we just tried to know what these things are. Today we'll try to understand. Are we done with this? All right. Chala. So this one already I told you. If there is single raw metal given in the question, you'll get only price variance and usage variance. And accordingly, the formulas also will be 1, 2, and 3. 4 will not come. Because 4 is coming here only, na? Right? So if we stop here because of single raw metal, then this and this are not required. In that case, this will also not come. So in that case, this will be your classification and these will be your formulae. Got the point? Only when there is multiple raw metal, then this whole thing will come. Otherwise, this will not come, this will not come. Clear? That is what I've given here. Single raw metal in the question, then you will have only price and usage variance, and the formulas will be 1, 2, and 3. If there is multiple raw metal in the question, then it will be material price variance, and usage variance will be further classified into mix and yield. And all the 4 formulae will come. Is that clear? Hello? Yes? Alright, fantastic. See here. If no information is given in the question, then actual quantity consumed is equal to what, Nana? Actual quantity purchased for which variance? Price variance. We'll assume like that. Otherwise, actual quantity will be actual quantity purchased for price variance, actual quantity consumed for usage variance. Are you able to understand? But when there is no info given in the question, then it's going to be presumed what, Nana? Same. Both for price and usage, you're going to take actual quantity consumed only. Got it? Right. Okay, now let's go with the logics behind the formula. Now, first thing is, if you need to understand this, first you have to understand the logic behind any formula for that matter. First of all, what is the reason for creating a formula? So that once that formula is applied, you will get a particular number, let's say 300, for example. And then you should be able to use that number, right? If you are not able to use this number after applying the formula, then the formula itself is meaningless, as simple as that. Got the point? So the logic is pretty simple. You create a formula, you apply it, you get a number. Say for example, the number is 300, then you should be able to use that number. If you're not able to use that number, then the formula itself is meaningless. Keeping this in mind only, all these formulas has been created. So basic logic behind all the standard costing formula is, in any formula, there should be only one variable that should change. When I talk about price variance, what should change? Only price must change. Everything else should be constant. You got the point? Similarly, when I talk about usage variance, what should change? Only usage, which means the quantity must change. Everything else should be constant. Similarly, when I talk about mix variance, only mix must change and everything else should be constant. Similarly, when I talk about yield variance, only yield must change and everything else must be constant. In other words, only one change will be there. Everything else, multiple things will remain constant. You get the point? This is very, very, very important. If you don't get this, you will not be able to get any of this formula. Got it? So one should change and everything else must be constant. Now the biggest question is, sir, what will change, sir? The name of the variance itself is the answer. You got the point? For example, material price variance. What will change, sir? Price will change, sir. Everything else will be constant, sir. Usage variance means what will change, sir? Usage will change, sir, which is nothing but quantity. Everything else will be constant. Got the point? Similarly, mix variance. What will change? Mix will change. Everything else will be constant. Yield variance. What will change? Yield will change. Everything else will be constant. Got it? Chalo. Now let's apply this logic. So if you apply this logic, see here. In price variance, price must change. What is left over? Quantity is left over. So which means basically quantity will be constant. Similarly, when it comes to usage variance, quantity will change and price will remain what, Nana? Constant. Got it? Now let's try to apply this to the formula. Now, let's start with price variance. What did I tell you with respect to price variance? What will change? Tell me. What will change, Ray? Just a second. Yeah. Right, Nana. 1 second. Just. Right. Okay. So material price variance. What was I talking about? What did I say? What will change? Price will change. Correct? Price changes. And what will remain constant? Quantity. Is it clear? Now, so coming on to this logic, we have two types of prices. Obviously, the difference will be price is nothing but price variance. Correct? What are all the price that we have? Standard price as well as what, Nana? Actual price. So obviously, because the price will change, the difference between prices is nothing but price variance. But this price must be multiplied with a quantity, and you know that quantity will remain constant. Now here we have a problem because we have two quantities right now, SQ and AQ. RAQ will not come because we are talking about price variance. RAQ will come only when we talk about mix as well as yield variance. Right now RAQ will not come. Are you able to get me? Right now what will come? Only SQ and AQ. There are only two quantities. RAQ will come only when we go to mix and yield. Clear? Right. Now in these two, one should be constant here. So which one should be constant? Are you able to get me? Well, the answer is what, Nana? Actual quantity. Now the question is, why are you taking AQ as constant? I already told you. What is the concept of standard cost? Whatever, the standard cost per unit that you have got, you'll be multiplying that with actual output. Correct? Why is it like that? Because we are not worried about the budgeted output. Budgeted output is something that you plan, right? Actual output is something that has happened. So the logic will be like this. Suppose I've planned that my budgeted output will be 1000 units, but actual output is 900 units. Are you able to understand? Now I'll not be thinking like this, saying I've planned 1000 units. For 1000 units, what is the cost that you have planned? Now 900 units you have actually produced. For 900 units, what is the cost you have incurred? Then if you compare it, the comparison will not be in sync because there will be multiple variations. You got the point? Now instead what I say, 1000 units is what I have planned. Leave it. Now anyway that has not happened. Nah? What has happened is 900 units. Now this 900 units which has actually been produced should have been produced at what cost? Is actually produced at what cost? You got the point? Forget about what we have planned initially. Up to 900 units we have produced. This is the actual output. Now this 900 units, what is the cost at which it should have been produced? It should have been produced. And what is the actual cost that has actually been incurred? That should be the right comparison to understand the efficiency. You understand the point? So I should not be hanging with the 1000 units which I have planned long back. You got the point? Yes? Same logic applies here also. What is SQ? Raw material allowed. Correct? Standard quantity of raw metal required for actual output. What is AQ? Actual quantity of raw metal consumed. When I'm talking about price variance, what will be my thought process? Whatever the actual quantity that has been consumed should have been consumed at what price is actually consumed at what price. That should be the price variance. Now, why should I be thinking about that quantity as well? You understand what I'm trying to say? Right? Again, I'll repeat. See here. So, whatever the actual quantity of raw material that you have consumed should have been consumed at what price is actually consumed at what price. Now, this makes sense. Exactly, it focuses on price variance. It doesn't focus on any of the inefficiency when it comes to actual quantity. Correct? Because directly you're taking actual quantity. Suppose if you take this one, SQ, then the inefficiency or efficiency of actual quantity also will creep in because you're going with standard quantity. Na? You understand what I'm trying to say? Yes? So therefore, okay, if you're able to understand it, just keep it with you. Otherwise, these things anyway will not be tested in the exam. This is only for your satisfaction. That's all. Am I clear? So again, I'll repeat. The logic is very simple. When it comes to quantity, you know that. What is the logic? Price variance means price will change and quantity will remain constant. Clear? Now, price will change. There are two prices. So the difference between price is nothing but price variance. Clear? Quantity will remain constant. We have got two quantities, SQ and AQ. RAQ will not come. Only in mix and yield variance, RAQ will come. Right now, we are talking about price and usage. Therefore, RAQ will not come. Now, the next question is with respect to these two quantity, which will remain constant. For that, the answer what I have given is AQ will remain constant. What was the logic? Why AQ is constant? Because the thought process is like this. Actually, you have consumed so many units of raw materials. Now, this raw materials, whatever that you have consumed, has actually happened. So, let's think about that. This is imaginary figure, correct? SQ is what? Imaginary figure. Are you able to understand? Now, don't ask me with a counter logic saying that then why did you go with something called SQ? I did go with something called SQ at the beginning of the year. Are you able to understand? Now, when I'm calculating variance, this AQ has already happened. Na? When I tried to fix the SQ at the beginning of the year, when I gave the target to the production, sorry, this is price variance, to purchase department, when I gave the target, at that time, I don't know what the actual price is going to be, correct? Actual quantity, what is going to be consumed also, I don't know. So therefore, I gave a target of SQ at that time. So it makes sense, correct? Right now, actuals has anyway happened. Then why should I be thinking about this? So my thought process will be like this. Actual quantity you have consumed, okay? This should have been consumed at what price? And this has been consumed at what price is nothing but my price variance. Clear? Now remember, this logic applies only to quantity. Clear? Are we done? Right. Moving on to next one. What is the next variance we have? This is the formula. Na? Now tell me the formula. What is the formula for price variance? 3 minus 2. Correct? What is 3? What is 3? You should remember, Nana. How many times we have seen the formula already? What is 3? AQ into SP. What is 2? Right. What is common here? AQ into what? SP minus AP. That's what we have got here. Correct? Right? Chalo, moving on. Now, after material price variance, what is the next one you have got? What is the next one you have got? Material usage variance. Next one is material usage variance, right? Now tell me, according to the logic which I told you, usage means what will change? Quantity will change, which is nothing but usage. And what will remain constant? Now quantity will change means what quantity and what quantity? There are only two quantities. One is SQ, the other one is what? AQ. So it should be the difference between these two. Correct? Huh? Don't say RAQ. I told you RAQ will come only when we go for mix and yield. Right now RAQ will not come. Is that clear? Right. And what will remain constant? Price will remain constant. What price and what price? We have got two prices, SP and AP. Now again the question is which will remain constant? Again here the answer is standard price will remain constant. You get it? When it comes to quantity, which will remain constant? Actual quantity. For that, I've explained you the logic. What was the logic? Because actual quantity is something that you've actually consumed. Therefore, this should have been consumed at what price? And this has been actually consumed at what price? That difference will take. Correct? When it comes to usage variance, exactly we are going with similar logic. Initially saying that usage variance means quantity will change and price will remain constant. There are two types of quantity, that is SQ and AQ. Therefore, take the difference in quantity and you multiply with the price, which will remain constant. Now you have two types of price over here, SP and AP. One of this must remain what? Constant. So which will remain constant is the question. And the answer is, well, you might be expecting AP, but the answer is what? SP. Why SP? Actually, you know the answer for this. You know the logic for this. Very good, Nana. Yesterday only I told you while I was explaining the theory that actual price is not reliable. Why it is not reliable? This is not reliable. Why actual price is not reliable? It is affected by what? Abnormal things and temporary fluctuations. Yesterday I told you this, you remember? When we were talking about inventory valuation. When we were talking about inventory valuation, I told you inventory will be valued at standard cost. At that time, I told you the logic. Why do we value the inventory at standard cost? What is the logic I told you? That because standard cost does not vary. It remains constant. It is more trustworthy number. It is more reliable number. When you go with actual cost keeps on fluctuating every single month. So which actual cost you will take? Doesn't matter. Got the point? It doesn't work. So therefore, we go with what, Nana? Standard price. Same logic applies here. If I go with actual price, my actual price in January will be different, February will be different, March will be different. Are you able to understand? April will be different, May will be different, June will be different, July will be different. Now, which one you will take when it comes to this so-called actual price? Now, you might be saying that, what is this? I will take average of all the months. That is nothing but standard price now. You got the point? So, are you able to get the logic here? So, this is the reason why even many faculties, they don't understand the logic behind this, and therefore they end up by hearting things. They will also by heart, they'll ask the students also to by heart. Got the point? So you need to understand. So when it comes to quantity always, which quantity will remain constant? Actual quantity. When it comes to price always, which price will remain constant? Standard price. I told you the logic for both of them. Am I clear? Right. Now tell me, what is the formula for usage variance? 1 minus 3, yeah? What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 3? So what is common here? Into SQ minus AQ. It's the same formula that we have got here. Right. Now if I ask you to calculate price variance, will you do it without formula? So material price variance is equal to, what is the concept that I told you? Price must change and quantity must remain constant. What price and what price? Standard price and actual price. So it is the difference, and which will remain constant? Quantity will remain constant. Which quantity will remain constant? Standard quantity or actual quantity? We're done. Okay. Next, material usage variance. What did I say? Change in quantity. What quantity and what quantity? Standard quantity and actual quantity. RAQ will not come. And I said price will remain constant. Correct? What price will remain constant? Standard price. Done. So if you want, you can do it without formula as well, but it's not that easy. Once we go to mix and yield variance, you'll understand. Anyways, are we done with this? Finished? All right. Chalo, fantastic. Now see. So this is what I've told here. Okay. So when it comes to price variance, price must change and quantity should be constant. And which quantity will remain constant? Actual quantity. I gave you the formula. Similarly, when it comes to usage variance, quantity will change and price will be constant. Which price will be constant? Standard price. Correct? Huh? So actual price I've cancelled here. That's it. Are we done with this? Right. Chalo. Moving on. Now let's go with this one. So I'll just, I think I can't copy paste. Anyway, directly I'll go here. What is there? What are the variances that is left over for us right now? Material mix variance as well as what? Material yield variance. Correct? Now I told you these two variances will come only when there is multiple raw material requirement. Correct? So for that what we'll do, we'll take an example. We'll take gold ornament. So when I take gold ornament, this is your finished good, correct? The ornament, the jewelry, correct? So what will be the raw materials for this? Gold alone will not be the raw material. It's an alloy. You need gold as well as copper. Only then you will be able to design it. With just gold, you can't design it, okay? So we have gold as well as copper. What is this? Your multiple raw materials. So when there is multiple raw materials, obviously you'll be getting what? Mix as well as yield. Now, so let's go with this mix and yield. But before we get to that, let's try to write some numbers here. Ultimately, there are two prices. One is standard price and actual price, correct? In the formula that we have seen. But when it comes to quantity, there are three quantities. What are they? Standard quantity, actual quantity, revised actual quantity, right? So let's try to understand this first and then we'll go with the formula. Now see here. First we have something called standard quantity. Then we have something called actual quantity. Then we have something called what? Revised actual quantity. We'll take some numbers. So we have two raw materials. One is gold. The other one is what? Copper, right? And coming on to gold, let's say, I'll take some numbers here only. I gave you some numbers. 150 and 50 I'll take. 150 and 50. This is the quantity. So what is the total, Nana? 200. Let's take some numbers for actual quantity. I took 140 and 80. So we'll take 140 and 80. What is the total? So what is the logic here? According to the standard that has been given, 150 gold should be used and 50 copper should be used, right? Whereas this is the ratio at which you have used, correct? Right? Now RAQ means, what is the abbreviation I told you? Revised actual quantity, which means you will revise the actual quantity. In other words, actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. That's what I've told you, right? What is the actual quantity here? 220. This should be rewritten in what proportion? Standard proportion between gold and copper. What is standard proportion? Here you have the standard proportion. What is that? 3:1. Huh? It is 3:1. So this should be rewritten in the ratio of what? 3:1. Correct? Tell me how much it comes. 165, 55. So 165 and 55. So what will be the total? 220 only. Now you have understood how RAQ has been calculated, right? Again I repeat, RAQ, how it has been calculated? Actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion or standard mix. So I took the actual quantity 220. I have rewritten that in which proportion? Standard proportion, which is 3:1. So I've got 165 and 55. Ho gaya. Clear? Hello? Yes? Alright. Now see here. Let's talk about mix variance first. Now one thing is for sure. Mix variance means what must change? What must change? Huh? If you don't respond, then I'll not be moving forward. I'll stop. Whichever you want, that's your wish, right? Mix must change. And what will remain constant? Anything else will remain constant, right? I told you multiple things will remain constant. For example, if you look at the formula here, I'm talking about this variance, right? So what will change here? Mix variance means mix will change. And what will remain constant? Price will remain constant. Yield also will remain constant. You get it? Because there are three things here. Suppose when I'm talking about these two, then only two things are available. So when I'm talking about price, price will change and usage will remain constant, correct? And when I'm talking about usage variance, usage will change and price will remain constant. Am I clear? Yes, everybody, right? Similarly, here there are three things now. 1, 2 and 3. So therefore, when I talk about mix variance, what will remain constant? Price will remain constant and yield will remain constant. So when I talk about yield variance, which will remain constant? Mix and price. Only what will change? Yield will change. So change will be only one. Multiple things will remain constant. That's what I told you here. Yes, only one variable should change. Multiple else should remain what? Constant. Everything else will remain constant. That can be 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. But change will be only one. So going by that logic, now mix variance means mix must change. And what will remain constant? Price will remain constant. Right? And also which will remain constant? Yield will remain constant. Correct? Are we done with this? All right, chalo. Now let's move on. Let's try to understand this. First of all, let's understand what do you mean by mix. Very simple. If you can see here, what is the mix in the standard proportion? It has to be 3:1. So which means 3 times it should be gold, 1 time it should be copper. Got the point? Everybody. Whereas, tell me, what is your actual mix over here? 140 and 80. So is it in the ratio of 3:1? It's not even in the ratio of 2:1. Which means what this guy has done, he has given less share of gold and more share of copper. Eventually, because of this mix change, logically what will happen? The quality of the gold ornament will get what? Reduced. And the profit for this guy might get increased, but it will bring a bad goodwill, correct? In a sense, bad name. What do you mean by bad goodwill? Bad name. Got the point? You get it? So therefore, they fix something called mix variance. Means whatever the standard mix that I've planned initially, your actual quantity also should be in that mix only. The quantity may change. Then accordingly, you reduce it, but the mix must remain constant. Say, for example, the actual quantity can be 4 also, Nana. In that case, this mix should be what? Still, it should be 3:1. The actual quantity can be 8. It should be what? 6:2. The actual quantity should be 12. Then it should be what? 8:4. 8:4 or 9:3? 9:3. You got the point? So that 3:1 mix must not change, because if that changes, the quality of the product will be changed. So therefore, the mix has to remain what? Constant. That is why we have something called mix variance. Correct? All right. So therefore, now to calculate mix variance, what did I say? Mix must change and everything else should remain constant. Now from this only we'll derive the formula. We have 3 things over here. One is SQ, AQ and RAQ. We have also calculated this, correct? Now let's try to see how the mix variance will be calculated. What should change? Mix must change. So between this and this, is there a change in mix? Is there a change in mix? When I ask a simple question, then just answer, okay? Is there a change in mix? Yes. But is the quantity constant here? No. So this is nothing but your yield. The total is nothing but your yield. Is yield constant? No. So I told you there should be only one thing that should be constant. But here this is varying, this is also varying. So which means this is not your answer. Now let's compare these two. So you have actual quantity. This is in what mix? Actual quantity is in what mix? Actual mix, right? That's something like less than 2:1, correct? This is in what mix? Standard mix. So this is 3:1, correct? So which means difference between these two. Do we have mix variance here? Yes. But I told you mix must change and everything else will be constant. Yield will be constant especially. Is yield constant here? Which means our answer is what? RAQ and AQ, correct? So which means your formula will be difference between RAQ and AQ. And also I told you that price will remain constant. Which price will remain constant? That's your answer. Now let's go with the formula. Mix variance, what is the formula? What is 4? Right. What is 3? So what is common? So what is the formula? RAQ minus AQ. That's what we have got here. Right? Same stuff. You get it? Right. Now the next one you people will say. Okay, what is the next one we have? Yield variance. First, give me the logics first. So the name is material yield variance. Now you people tell me, what should change? Yield must change. Okay? And what will remain constant? Mix will remain what? Constant. And also, what will remain constant? Price will remain constant. Correct? Now you know what is yield. Yield is nothing but total in our formula. Correct? Now let's come back here. What did I say? Yield must change. Let's see where yield is changing. Here yield is changing. Yes, yield is changing. Now, yield must change, but what should remain constant? Mix must remain constant. Is mix is constant here? No, this is 3 is to 1. This is something less than 2 is to 1. Correct? Therefore, this cannot be your answer. Why? Because yield is changing, mix is also changing. Now, let's compare these two. First of all, yield is changing. Then this is not the answer. Now, what is left over? These two. Now see here, is yield is changing? Yes. What about mix? 3 is to 1. What about mix? 3 is to 1. So mix is constant. What is changing? Yield is changing. So therefore the answer should be what? RAQ and SQ difference. Correct? Multiplied with price. What price will remain constant? Standard price. So that's your answer. Got it? Give me the formula for this. What is the formula? 1 minus 4. What is 1? What is 4? Right. What is constant? Into SQ minus RAQ. Did we get the same? SQ and RAQ. Got the point? Right? The logic is also very simple. See, when it comes to mixed variance, unless your gold and copper mix, whatever the standard that I've set, if that is not carried on into actuals, the quality of the ornament will be very bad, and that will bring a very bad business in future. Correct? Similarly, what about yield? When I talk about yield, yield is nothing but relationship between your input and output. Are you able to understand? For example, in process costing, we have seen if your input is something and your normal loss is, say, for example, 10%. If your actual loss is 20%, what does it mean? It means that your yield has got reduced. Are you able to understand? Suppose your normal loss is 10% and your actual loss is only 5%. What does it mean? It means that your yield has got increased. In process costing, did we see or not? Right? We have seen abnormal gain. Abnormal gain is a situation where yield has got increased. Abnormal loss is a situation where yield has got reduced. That's why we are going with the total. Yield is nothing but how much is your input, what is the loss that you're expecting, how much is your output. If the loss, what you get in reality, is equal to the loss that you have expected, then there is no yield variance. Your yield will be exactly the same. If the loss, what you get in reality, is greater than the loss that you have expected, then it will be what? Less yield. If your loss that you're getting in reality is less than the loss that you have expected, then it will be what? Yield variance in positive. Are you able to understand? In other words, abnormal gain is favorable yield variance. Abnormal loss is what? Adverse yield variance. No abnormal gain, no abnormal loss means no yield variance, first of all. Got the point? Yes? Everybody? So yield is nothing but that is the logic, relationship between input and output. How much is the input? How much is the output that is expected? Am I getting that exactly same output? Now, when your output will change, we have already seen the reasons in process costing when it comes to the so-called abnormal gain and abnormal loss. Say, for example, initially you thought that your normal loss is 10%. Your actual loss is only 8%. It means your yield has got increased. You got abnormal gain. So which means your yield variance will be favorable. Now, why did this happen? Probably your actually workers worked at higher efficiency, or you have got a better machine, or your working conditions has become better, or the quality of the raw metal which you have initially thought, the actual quantity of raw metal is much higher. As a result, the loss has got reduced because of the quality of the input. There can be any reason. So therefore, you will get something called yield variance. Suppose your normal loss was 10%, your actual loss is 15%. Now in this case, what has happened? Your yield has got reduced, so it will be adverse variance, correct? In this case, what will happen? What might be the reasons? Probably your employees worked at inefficiency, right? Or maybe the quality of raw metal is pretty bad, or maybe the machine did not work properly, it has become old, therefore it started giving you what? More loss. Simply like your Xerox machine only. If the machine gets old, what will happen to the quality of Xerox? More blackness will come and stuff like that, isn't it? If the machine is really new and maintained pretty well, then the Xerox also will be what? Very neat, and the black letters also will be very clean, correct? So like this, there can be any reason. But the point that you have to understand is yield variance means this is it. Yield variance always talks about loss. My expected loss, my actual loss, same, then there is no yield variance. My actual loss is greater than my expected loss, then there is adverse yield variance. My actual loss is less than the expected loss, then there will be favorable yield variance. Got it? Are we done with this? All right, chalo. Finished. Now you guys give me the formula. Ready? Yeah? All right. Now let's start with the first one. Material price variance. What is the logic? price will change. And what will remain constant? Quantity will remain constant. What price and what price? Standard price and actual price. So they will change, therefore difference between those two, correct? And what will remain constant? Quantity will remain constant. What quantity and what quantity we have? Standard quantity and actual quantity. But which will remain constant? Actual quantity. Finished up? Right. Now if you go with formula, what is the formula, Nana? 3 minus 2. Correct? What is 3? AQ into SP. What is 2? AQ into AP. Correct? What is constant here? AQ into SP minus AP. Correct? Exactly, we have got the same. Now moving on to next one. What is the next one we have? Material usage variance. What is the logic I have told you? What will change? Usage will change or quantity will change. So it is the difference between two quantities. Correct? What quantity and what quantity? Standard quantity and actual quantity. Are we done? And what will remain constant? Price will remain constant. There are two prices, correct? Which price will remain constant? Standard price will remain constant. I have explained you the logic, correct? Now if you go with the formula, what is the formula for usage variance? Formula for usage variance, 1 minus 3. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 3? Right, what is common here? SP into what, Nana? SQ minus AQ. Clear? Moving on to next one. What is the next one we have? Material mix variance. I told you what will remain constant here? Price will remain constant. Yield also will remain constant. And what will change? Only mix will change. Correct? Now coming on to this data, where mix is changing here? Here mix is changing. This is 3 is to 1. This is 2 is to 1. Correct? Here also mix is changing. This is 2 is to 1 and this is 3 is to 1. Correct? See here. 3 is to 1, 2 is to 1, 3 is to 1. If you compare these two, mix is changing. If you compare these two also, mix is changing. But then only one will be the answer. What is that answer? Here, yield is also changing. Whereas here, yield is constant. According to our logic, what should be the answer? Yield must be constant because there should be only one change. So therefore, here mix is changing, yield is also changing. Therefore, this is not my answer. Here mix is changing and yield is what? Constant. Therefore, this is my answer, which means the answer is what? RAQ and AQ difference. Correct? Alright. So RAQ and AQ difference, and what will remain constant? Standard price, naturally, right? Moving on to next one. What is the next one? Material yield variance. So yield variance means what must change? Yield must change, right? Coming on to this formula. Here yield is changing, yes. And what should remain constant? Mix must remain constant. Here mix is in the ratio of 3 is to 1. Here it is in the ratio of 2 is to 1. Is it constant? No. According to us, it should be constant. Only yield must change. So this is not my answer. Then I compare these two. Is yield is changing here? No. Then this is also not my answer because yield must change. Then only thing that is left over is these two. Is yield is changing here? Yes. 200 and 220. Yield is changing. Then what is the other condition? Mix must remain constant. This is in the ratio of 3 is to 1. This is in the ratio of 3 is to 1. Here we have calculated. Correct? Therefore, this is my answer. So SQ and RAQ. So here I'll be writing into standard price. Correct? Even if you apply the formula, it will be same. For material mix variance, what is the formula? Mix variance. What is 4? RAQ into, right, what is 3? AQ into SP. That is equal to, what is common? SP into RAQ minus AQ. Correct? That's what we have got here, right? Okay, moving on to yield variance. What is the formula for yield variance? 1 minus 4. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 4? RAQ into SP. Correct? What is common? SP into SQ minus RAQ. Correct? Yes? Did we get that here? That's it. We got it? Alright. Now tell me, looking at this, this is RAQ or RSQ? It is RAQ only. Why? Because you are revising the actual quantity. Correct? You have taken the actual quantity here and you have revised the actual quantity. That's why it is called RAQ. But your ICA has named this as what? RSQ. Is it RSQ? The numbers will be same. Exactly, you'll get these numbers only. But the name is RSQ. Are you revising standard quantity here? Nope. You didn't even touch the standard quantity. Correct? You have touched only the actual quantity and then you are rewriting them in standard proportion. Correct? So therefore, this is RAQ. This is not RSQ. But because your ICA has given the answer as RSQ, we'll be using that. But the entire concept will be based on RAQ only. Got it? Alright. right? That's it. Now, you people tell me once. Now let's go with the formula. I explained you all the logics. Now let's go with the formula. So first, what do we have? Material cost variance. So material cost variance will be divided into what and what? Price and usage. Usage will be divided into what and what? Mix and yield variance, right? Okay. If there is only single raw material, then what I'll be getting? Cost variance will be divided into price and usage, and we will stop there. We'll not go any further. If there is multiple raw material, then what we'll do? Cost variance will be divided into price and usage. Usage will be further divided into mix and yield. Okay. Now let's go with the formula. Cost variance, what is the formula? 1 minus 2. Then price variance, 3 minus 2. Then what is the next one? Usage variance, 1 minus 3. Mix variance, 4 minus 3. And last one, 1 minus 4. Okay, what is 1? SQ into SP. What is 2? AQ into AP. What is 3? AQ into SP. What is the last one? RAQ into SP. Done. What is SQ? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output. Correct? Right. What is SP? Standard price per unit of raw material. Next. What is AQ? Actual quantity of raw material purchased. If it is purchase price variance, right? Material price variance. If it is usage variance, it will be actual quantity consumed, right? After that, actual price. Then RAQ, revised actual quantity, means what? Actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. Actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. हो गया. Are we done with this? Right, chalo. Now what I'll do is that I'll see whether we have got any sums which is purely based on what? Material variance without any other variance. Okay. If we have it, we'll do it. Let's see any illustrations. Meanwhile, you revise this. Where is it? Learn the formula. You already know the logics, learn the formula. Okay. You guys revise it. I'll just download the standard costing material. Okay. And then we'll start solving sums only based on material variances. You guys revise it meanwhile. Learn the formula. Learn the formula, Nana. Ready, yeah? Shall we start? Right. Take illustration 1. Illustration 1. Okay. Chalo, what do we have here? the standard and actual figures of product Z or as under. You got standard figures and actual figures. Material quantity is given. Okay. Material price per unit is given. Okay. Now we need to find out which variance. Material cost variance. Okay. Anyways. Now tell me the first thing. Do we have multiple raw materials or single raw material? Multiple or single? So if there is single raw material, then what is the classification that we'll have? Cost variance will be divided into what and what? Price and usage. Correct? Everybody? Right. So therefore, illustration 1. What should I write here? Material cost variance divided into what, Nana? What and what? Price variance, usage variance. Correct? Yes? All right. Now, don't write any formula. We'll present it the same way I say has presented. Got it? Formula is only for your ease of solving in the examination. You get the point? You remember it and then you solve. You can't present it that way, not necessary. Even if you do it also, kuch farak nahi padta, but it's okay. Right. What are the variances that he has asked? Calculate cost variances. That's what he has asked. Material cost variance. Correct? So we'll start with price variance first. Material price variance is equal to, what is the logic that I've told you? What will change? Price will change. What price and what price? Standard price and actual price. And what will remain constant? Actual quantity will remain constant. Correct? That is equal to. Now look at the question and tell me what is the standard price here? Standard price is 1. Correct? Yes. So 1 minus. What is the actual price in the question? 0.80. So write 0.80 into. What is the actual quantity? Actual quantity is how much, Rana? 45 units. Now remember, actual quantity means what is the actual meaning that I've told you? Actual quantity of raw material purchased. If it is purchase variance. If it is usage variance, it is actual quantity of raw material consumed for actual output. Am I clear? Entire thing should be important because when sums are complicated, you'll get it. But here, do I have any information with respect to the purchase quantity of raw material? No. Therefore, I don't know whether it is actual quantity purchased. I don't know whether it is actual quantity consumed. There is only one actual quantity which is available. So I will take that. Are you able to get me? Right. Tell me how much is that? How much? 45. So what will be your answer? 9. Now the question is, this 9 is favorable or adverse? Favorable or adverse? Your standard price is 1, actual price is 0.8. Exactly. Now suppose if you are confused with respect to standard price is 1 and your actual price is what? Less than standard price. Therefore, your actual profit would have got increased because your cost has got reduced now. So therefore, your profit would have got increased. Therefore, it is favorable. If you are not able to get this logic, if it feels difficult for you, then you can go with the blind rule. What is blind rule? So blind rule is plus will be what? Favorable, minus will be what? Adverse. So if you're not able to get the logics, then go with the blind rule. Moving on. What is the next one we have? Material usage variance. Right. Now material usage variance means what will change? Quantity will change. What quantity and what quantity? Standard quantity and actual quantity. And what will remain constant? Standard price will remain constant. Correct? That is equal to. Now look at the question and tell me what is your standard quantity? 50. Actual quantity 45. So 50 minus 45 and standard price is how much? 1. Correct? How much you get? Favorable, adverse? Favorable. Correct? Because your actual quantity is less than standard quantity, which means your actual cost will be less, which means your actual profit will be more. Actual profit more means favorable, or plus is favorable, minus is adverse. Got it? Hello? Yes? Next, these two put together, we call it as what? Material cost variance. So you can do it two ways. Material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. Correct? That is equal to how much, right? 9 plus 5. That will be how much? 14 favorable. This is one way. Or you can apply the formula. Material cost variance. What is the formula? 1 minus 2. Don't write 1 minus 2 in the exam. You remember 1 minus 2. Correct? What is 1? SQ into SP. So instead of 1, you write this. What is 2? AQ into AP, correct? That is equal to, what is SQ into SP? Standard quantity is how much? Standard quantity is how much? 50 into standard price 1 minus actual quantity, actual price. That's it. Tell me how much it comes. 50 minus 36. 14 favorable. That's it. Finish it off. Finished, everybody? Now, before I move on, any doubts in this sum? It's a basic sum, Ray. Every sum will not be like this. Okay? It's a basic problem. Now, any doubts in this sum? Look at the solution once and then we'll move on. So, what we're going to do is that we're going to learn the formulas 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, and all the stuff. Okay? We will not be writing in the answer as 1 minus 2. Instead, we know what is 1, we'll write that. We know what is 2, we'll write that. Are you able to understand? What we won't be writing is 1 and 2 will not write. Am I clear? Clear? Reason is very simple. Our presentation must exactly match with ICA's presentation. That's the only reason. Apart from that, nothing is there. But this is the easiest way that you can do, because right now you might be thinking that it's a basic sum. Therefore, we can solve whichever way we want. But whatever the method, the procedure that we have followed, even if there is highly complicated sums, that sums also can be solved with our methodology. Got the point? That is the ultimate agenda. So looking at these kind of basic sums, don't come to a conclusion that why should I learn all this formula, all this logics and all this nonsense. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Clear? Now I'll tell you what kind of things may come. Suddenly, if I give you a question saying that find out material volume variance, that is a question. Material volume variance. How to find? Then I'll call it as usage variance only, na? So when I talk about volume here, I'm indirectly talking about the difference between budgeted quantity and actual quantity. So in that case, what you have to do, you need to understand where the volume will come. Okay, he's not talking about quantity here, because otherwise it will be called as usage variance. Got the point? Okay, material, okay, let's put it this way. Volume means you are getting confused. Material activity variance. They'll ask you like this. Got the point? Activity is nothing but volume, basically. Now, if you're not able to get this, then at least you need to think, okay, then this is activity or volume. How can I do this? Volume means it's the difference between two quantities. One is budgeted quantity, the other one is actual quantity. So I am right now, I have SQ into SP. What is SQ into SP? SQ means standard quantity of raw material consumed for actual output. Into SP means standard price. Okay, I don't have any volume variance right now. I don't have any activity variance right now, because I have material price, usage, mix and yield. So which means this is something out of this, correct? Then at the beginning, sir has told me that there are three types of cost: budgeted cost, standard cost and actual cost. The difference between budgeted cost and standard cost is nothing but volume. So maybe that will be the volume variance. What is budgeted cost? Budgeted quantity into budgeted cost per unit or standard cost per unit. What is standard cost? Actual output into standard cost per unit, correct? And even while teaching the formula also, he told that for material cost variances, SQ is nothing but standard quantity of raw material for what? Actual output. So instead of actual output, if you put budgeted output there, then SQ will become what? Budgeted cost. So in other words, for whatever the question that I've asked you, what is the formula? What is the question that I've asked? Material volume variance or activity variance, correct? The formula is 1 minus 1. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 1 here? SQ into SP only. Then what is this SQ? Standard quantity of raw metals for actual output. What is this SQ? Standard quantity of raw metals for purchased output. Rest everything will be same. You will get your answer. Then the difference will be only volume. Correct? So what I'm trying to say is that you can solve any sum that he asks. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay? You get it? This is not required right now, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. So therefore, your mind should be flexible. Don't try to keep it restricted. You understand the point? Yes. I gave you all the logics. Now with the logics that I gave you, you should be again and again revising it. So once you revise it, even if a new model sum comes also, we'll be able to solve it. Got it? Right now, that much depth is not necessary. I just gave you an idea. I'm not expecting you to solve it. Even at final level also, people can't do it unless I explain that. You got the point. So don't worry about that. We'll go with the sums that is there in the ICA. To that extent, if you are pakka, it's done. Are we done? Right. Moving on to the next illustration. So illustration 1 is done. Let's move on. Ready? Yeah. So this is your ICA presentation. Okay. We did the same, correct? Yeah, standard cost is nothing but SQ into SP. Actual cost is nothing but AQ into AP. Correct? Here you can see. Right? Standard cost and actual cost. Correct? SQ into SP, AQ into AP. Hello? Yes. Kya price variance is actual quantity into standard price minus actual price. Correct? Usage variance is standard price into standard quantity minus actual quantity. Got the point? Now, what you can do is in the examination, you write with SP, SQ, AQ and all this stuff. And at the end, you can just write SP is equal to what, Nana? Standard price. Then SQ is equal to what, Nana? Standard quantity for actual output. Then AQ is equal to what, Nana? Actual quantity. You write and give explanation, that's all. Rather than writing every single time. Got it? So we will be using SQ, AQ only. Finally, below we'll just give explanation. What is that abbreviation? Got it? Chalo, fantastic. Now let's go to illustration number 2. Ready? Yeah? Slowly we'll do. Right. Okay, before we get to this illustration, now let me know whether you have learned the formula or not. Now tell me. So what do we have? Material cost variance, right? First tell me the classification. Material cost variance will be divided into what and what? Price variance, usage variance. Usage will be divided into what and what? Mix variance, yield variance. Clear? Mix and yield will come only when there are multiple raw materials, right? Now, how many formulas we have got? 4 formula. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 2? AQ into AP. What is 3? AQ into SP. What is 4? RAQ into SP. Done. Now, material cost variance. What is the formula? 1 minus 2. Next, price variance. 3 minus 2. Usage variance. 1 minus 3. Mix variance. 4 minus 3. Last one, yield variance. 1 minus 4. Got it? Right, chalo, fantastic. Now let's move on. Now see, NXC manufacturing concern furnishes the following information. Okay. So what do we have? Standard information is given. Material for 70 kg of finished goods is how much, Ray? 100 kg. Price of the material is how much? 1 per kg. Then the actual information is given. Actual output is so much. Actual material used is so much. Actual cost of materials is so much. Got it? You are required to calculate material cost variance. What is the formula for cost variance? What is the formula for cost variance? 1 minus 2. Price variance? 3 minus 2. Usage variance? 1 minus 3. Got it? Right. Chalo. That's it. Read the question. We'll start. Read the question. See each and every data carefully. Then problem solving will be very easy. Finished? Huh? Shall we start solving? Did you see each and every data carefully? Did you understand each and every data given in the question carefully? That is important. This is standard data. This is actual data. Have you seen it? Everybody? All right. Now let's start solving. Illustration 2. Ready? Yeah. Okay. Now tell me, do we have single raw material or multiple raw materials? Single. So which means we know that we'll be getting only price, usage and cost. That's all. As usual, first we'll go with price, then usage and at last cost. Ready? Yeah. Right. Now first, price variance. Tell me, what is the formula? Give me the formula. What is the formula for price variance? 3 minus 2. Correct? What is 3? AQ into. What is 2? AQ into AP. Isn't it? Right? Or if you apply the logic, price variance is the difference between price. What price and what price? Standard price and actual price. And what will remain constant? Quantity. Actual quantity will remain constant, which we have already learned. Correct? So this is with the help of formula. Okay. This is with the help of logic. So whichever you want, you can go. Right? I would rather tell you to go with the formula only so that your answer will be without any mistake. So if you have any lapse of concentration, your logic may go wrong. So therefore, it's better always go with the formula. Now let's move on. Now tell me from the question, what is AQ? AQ means what? First of all, tell me what is the abbreviation of AQ? Actual quantity of raw material purchased if it is price variance. Correct? But do I have any information with respect to actual quantity of raw material purchased? I don't have any information. I have only one information. What is that? Material used. So actual material used. Actual material used means this is nothing but what? Actual quantity consumed. Correct? Yes. So therefore, I'll take this number. What is that number? What is that number? 2,80,000 into. Okay. Next, don't do anything. Just observe. Don't write. After that, I'll give you time. You can write. What is the next one? Standard price. Now look at the question and tell me what is the standard price? Price of material standard. How much is that? 1 per kg. So into 1. Correct? Minus actual quantity 2,80,000 into actual price. Do you have any actual price over here? Can you figure it out? Yes. Cost of materials is given, which is 2,52,000, and material quantity is also given, which is 2,80,000. So if you divide these two, you should be getting what? Actual price. Divide that and tell me. Eh? If you guys are lapsing your concentration, then that's not good, right? Why are you getting relaxed when it comes to standard costing chapter? So it's 2,80,000 by 2,52,000 or 2,52,000 by 2,80,000? 2,52,000 by 2,80,000. This is the cost and this is the quantity, right? Tell me how much it is. 0.9. How did I get this 0.9? 2,52,000 divided by 2,80,000. Or you can also do it like this. See here. Actual quantity into standard price. So 2,80,000 into 1. Correct? Minus AQ into AP is nothing but actual cost. Directly actual cost is given. How much is actual cost? 2,52,000. So directly you can write 2,52,000. Is that is clear? Isn't it? Directly you can write 2,52,000 because 2,52,000 is nothing but actual cost. AQ into AP is nothing but actual cost, actual quantity into actual price. So directly you can take 2,52,000 and you can put that number rather than writing actual quantity and then multiplying with what? Actual price. Again, to find out actual price, you are dividing actual cost with actual quantity. Correct? Right. Anyways, so what is the answer? Favorable or adverse? Your standard cost is how much? 2,80,000. Your actual cost is how much? 2,52,000, which means your actual cost is less, which means your actual profit would have got increased. So it is favorable or adverse? Favorable. Or what is the other way? It is positive, therefore it is favorable. Are we done? Now moving on to next one. What is the next one we have? Material usage variance. Now, what is the formula for material usage variance? 1 minus 3. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 3? AQ into SP. Now what is common? SP into SQ minus AQ. Correct? Huh? Based on logic also, this is what you will get, right? That is equal to, do I know standard price? Standard price of material, how much is that? 1 per kg, right? So I'll write 1 here into SQ. So many times I told you. What is the concept of SQ? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output. Do I have it in the question? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output. Do I have it in the question or I need to calculate? You don't have it in the question because only two standard information is given. I don't know what is standard quantity for actual output, correct? But what I do know is for 70 kg of output, you should get 100, I mean, you should be consuming how much? 100 kg of raw material. This is output. This is input. Okay. For 70 kg of output, you should be consuming 100 kg. So let's go with a working note here. SQ calculation. What is SQ? Standard quantity of raw material consumed per actual output. Correct? Or we know the concept raw material allowed. Correct? How much raw material is allowed? For 70 kg of output. How much raw material is allowed? 100 kgs of raw material is allowed. Correct? Right. So what is your actual output? 2 lakh 10,000. 2 lakh 10,000 kgs. So for 70,000 kg, okay, the raw metal that is allowed is 100 kgs. Then for 2 lakh 10,000 kgs, how much should be the raw metal? Right. Give me the answer. Cross multiplication. So 2 lakh 10,000 into 100 divided by 70. How much you get? 3 lakhs. Correct? Right. Now come here. So SQ is how much, Nana? 3 lakhs. Minus AQ we already know. What is actual quantity? AQ means what? Actual quantity of raw material consumed. How much? Look at the question and give me 2,80,000. Correct? We have it here in the question. Actual quantity. Actual quantity consumed. Right? Which is nothing but material used. Consumed or used, both are same. How much is that? 2,80,000. So we have 2,80,000 over here. Right? Tell me how much it comes. What is that 20,000? Favorable or adverse? First of all, positive means favorable. In other words, what you can do is that your standard quantity is more than actual quantity. So which means your actual quantity is less. Your actual cost is less, which means your actual profit will be high. Therefore, it is favorable. I told you anything that increases your actual profit will be favorable. Correct? Hello? Yes? All right. Are we done with this? What else is left? Price variance is done. Usage variance is done. What is left over? Cost variance. Next. Material cost variance is equal to, what is the formula? 1 minus 2. You can also write price variance plus usage variance as well. Okay. Cost variance is 1 minus 2. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 2? AQ into AP. That is equal to. Do I know SQ into SP already? Here I have. Okay. Anyways, you people tell me. Standard quantity is how much? Just now we have calculated. 3 lakhs. Into standard price. Look at the question and tell me. 1 minus actual quantity into actual price is nothing but actual cost. How much is the actual cost? 2,52,000. Right? So how much you get? Favorable or adverse? Favorable. Right? Or material cost variance is equal to price variance plus usage variance. That is equal to. What is your price variance? 28,000 favorable. 28,000 favorable plus usage variance 20,000 favorable. 20,000 favorable. So what should be your answer? 48,000 favorable. Either way, you'll get the answer. Got it? Right. Chalo. Take this down. Copy now. Finished, huh? Can I scroll down? VIP. No, VIP. మైండ్ ఎక్కడెక్కడో వెళ్తున్నట్టు అనిపిస్తుంది. కరెక్టా రాంగా? పక్క నిద్రలోకి వెళ్ళడం కూడా ఎక్కడెక్కడికో వెళ్ళడమే మైండ్. ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళిందా? నైట్ పడుకోలే? All right, Nana. Finished, huh? Copied, huh? Okay, this is the last one. Finish it off. See, standard costing is like trying to learn how to ride a bike. Okay? First time when you're trying to balance a bicycle, how it will feel for you? When you're learning it for the first time I'm saying, for a moment you will feel, Arey, how difficult it is. It's impossible for me to learn this. But how these idiots, everybody is balancing the two wheelers and then going on. Now you'll be surprised, isn't it? It's like for you, it seems like an impossible task. But people who already know, they're easily balancing the two wheeler and then they're going like this, like that, this, and everything. Correct? Ah? But then, once you cross that level and once you know how to balance, now what you're doing? आगे चलोगे, ब्रेक मारोगे, वो चलोगे, पीछे मुड़ोगे, isn't it? You'll do all those things, na? So the point is, for certain things, initially it will look a lot more unfamiliar. It will be a lot more challenging for you. But once you keep on doing it again and again, again and again, again and again, after some time, it will become what? Like that. You get it? This is also such a kind of chapter, especially the way we are learning it. Okay. So, second problem will feel more comfortable than first one. Third will feel more comfortable than second. Fourth will feel more comfortable than third. By the time you reach 10th or 15th sum, you will be like, what is this, sir? You know? And then you'll go to the next sum. You get it? ये तो हमारा इज्जत की सवाल है सर, ये कुछ भी नहीं है सर, ये डम 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 प्रॉब्लम सर, दिस इज ओके. और थोड़ा ज्यादा ज्यादा दे दो आपको, यू नो. हाँ या. Hey, somehow I'm trying, Ray. You should appreciate, Ray. There is no encouragement in this class, Ray. All are pessimistic people. That is not encouragement. You hit claps because of two reasons. One is you better stop the speech, or your speech is really good. Moku. Then it's okay, Nana. Thank you, Nana. Thank you for the appreciation. That is the problem, Nana. Positive, negative also you'll do like that only, na. That is the problem. Chalo. Are we done? Any doubts in this sum before we move on to the next one? सब लोग इधर देख. Any doubts? Clear? The sum is clear. Shall we move to the next one? See, again and again I repeat, I give you a procedure. No matter whether the problem is easy or difficult, you should exactly stick to the procedure. Then you will never make a mistake. Your probability of making a mistake will go down almost to 0.00%. But if you deviate from my procedure and then you try to do on your own, thinking that I can do it, it's a very easy sum, without knowing, you'll definitely make errors, you'll definitely make mistakes. Am I clear? I've repeated this so many times. I've repeated this in overheads chapter, I've repeated this in ABC, I've repeated this in process costing, I've repeated this in joint and byproducts as well. Even in operating costing also we have seen, or service sector costing. Get it? You stick to the procedure, you apply the procedure, and it should be exactly the same for every sum. Get the point? Every time you read the question, you see the data, you try to understand what are all the variances we need to calculate, you try to write the variance, you remember the formula, then you try to apply that, and then you search for the numbers in the question, and then you solve it. You stick to the procedure. Don't go for shortcuts, thinking that this problem is easy, let me do it. Then if it's a difficult sum comes, or it might seem like an easy problem for you, it might not be easy. There will be some twist in the question. You got it? And you'll be doomed. Got it? Chalo. Chalenge? One more question. After that, we'll have a break. Ready? Yeah? Hello? Shall we go? And then you have to speak out. Inside, then what? Mokus. Balcony ready? Himmat wala? Right. Either. Ready? Yeah? Chalo. Now going to question number 3. Ready? Now let's read the question. Now this is again based on material variance only. Let's have a look into that. Standard cost of chemical mixture is as follows. 40% of material A at 20 per kg, 60% of material B at 30 per kg. The moment you see this, what you should understand? There are multiple raw materials, which means we'll be getting what? Mix as well as yield variance. Correct? But the funny thing is, he did not ask you that. We'll be getting mix and yield, but question did not ask. So we'll not be calculating. Got the point? Yes? Right. Moving on. That's how our ICA questions will be. Don't worry. JICA. Next. Standard loss is 10% of input is expected in production. The moment you see this sentence, what you should understand? This is related to what variance? Very good. Yield variance. So only one student is properly listening in this class. Huh? I'm teaching the same class to all of you, na? Only one is able to answer means what the others are doing. Lack of concentration. Right? And that's pretty bad. It is yield variance because just now, I think 10 minutes back, Anana, I've explained this. So much time I've explained. Abnormal gain, abnormal loss. It means that it is nothing but yield variance. Did I explain you that? After explaining, immediately that sentence has come in the question. Immediately I'm asking you that this represent which variance. The answer should be yield instant. Because it's not even 10 minutes since I've explained. Which means you have not listened. As simple as that. Are you able to get me? That's the problem. We can't do anything. Chala. See, at the end of the day, we should be motivating ourselves. Correct? Who is there in this world else to motivate than yourself? Tomorrow, you're going to buy a BMW car after you become qualified CA. I'll be walking on the road. You will be stopping the car, then you will be coming out, then you will be looking at me. I'll be having white beard and white hairs and stuff like that. You know, you'll be coming out, sir, like that. Then I'll say, who are you, like that? And he'll say, sir, that year, that sir, that that VIP sir, you know, always I used to give wrong answers to you. Right answers, I'll say, my friend, you know that. Ah, yes. How can I forget? Like, huh? Okay. That is all that we expect. Do I expect you to leave your BMW car with me and go? No. Even if you do that also, I'll say no. You get it? But after that, you may leave the keys in my pocket and then you can go. That's a different thing. But at the end of the day, I'll say no. Correct? That's all we expect. Beyond that, what are we expecting? Right? Am I going to enjoy your BMW? No. Cousin sister, understand the emotion. Right? Try to get the emotion first. So, it's your life. All the benefits tomorrow you are going to enjoy. Are you going to give anything to me? Nothing. You get it? In Tamil, they'll say, Aaniye pudunga vena. Right? You didn't understand, na? Leave it. Even if a dub also will not understand. That's Vadivelu dialogue. You know Vadivelu? Vadivelu, super comedian, Ray. Don't know. What is the problem with you guys? When I talk about movie, you don't know. When I talk about general knowledge, you don't know. Subject also, I say you don't know. What you know at the end of the day? Chalo. Ready? Now. So this sentence basically represents what? Yield variance. Now let's move on. But anyway, you have been not asked to calculate. But if it is asked to calculate, then you should be able to understand. Cost records for a period showed the following usage. 90 kgs of material A at cost of 18 per kg. So these are all actuals, correct? 110 kg of material B at a cost of 34 per kg. The quantity produced was 182 kg of good product, which means this is what? What is this? Huh? Actual output, in other words, finished good, correct? And this is your actual consumption, correct? Yes, this is your standard data, correct? That's it. We need to calculate the following variances. So first read the question properly. We'll start. Read it 2 times. You are reading or you're relaxing? First read the question properly. Without understanding the data given in the question, even if you try also, it's not correct. Read the question properly, then try. If you want to do on your own. Are we done with reading? Ready? Yeah. Shall we move on? Chalo. Now, what is this? Illustration 3. So what is the uniqueness of this question? We have multiple raw materials. Usually, when we get multiple raw materials, we expect to calculate mix as well as yield variance. But fortunately or unfortunately, that has not been asked. So what has not been asked? I'll not calculate. As simple as that. Okay. So I'll stick to what has been asked. What is the first one he has asked? Cost variance will, as usual, we'll do it at last. So first we'll be starting with price and usage. So let's start with price variance. Don't do anything, just focus here. All you have to do is, when I ask you a number, look at the question, see the number, pick the number, and then give it to me. Ready? Yeah? Now, material price variance. So you know the formula, right? What is the formula? Material price variance, what is the formula? 3 minus 2, right? What is 3? AQ into SP. What is 2? In other words, it is nothing but AQ into what? SP minus AP, right? You should be comfortable by this time. It is nothing but 3 minus 2. What is 3? AQ into SP. What is 2? AQ into AP. So AQ is common into SP minus AP. That is equal to. Now, if you look at the question, we need to do this for two materials. Correct? Material A and material B. So what I'll be writing here? I'll write subcolumns here. Material A. I need to calculate. I also need to calculate the same for material B. So which means I'll be applying this formula both for material A as well as material B. Now let's focus only on material A first. What is the formula? AQ into SP minus AP. Correct? AQ means what? Actual quantity purchased, because it's a price variance. But do I have actual quantity purchased data in the question? No. Only I have actual quantity consumed in production. Therefore, in this question also, AQ means what? Actual quantity of raw material consumed for what? Actual quantity of raw material consumed for. SQ means what? Standard quantity of raw material consumed for actual output. So AQ means what? Actual quantity of raw material consumed for actual output. Simple. Right. Now tell me, what is actual quantity of material A consumed for actual output? Any information here? The cost records for the period show the following. Right? What is that? 90 kg of material consumed at 18 per kg. So that data is given. This is actual usage. Correct? This is standard. Right? This is standard. And what is this, Nana? Actual. So 90 kg of raw material A is consumed. Correct? Bol rahe. So what should I write here? 90 into standard price of raw material A. Do I have standard price? Yes. How much? 20 minus actual price of raw material A. What is actual price? 18. Give me the answer. Favorable or adverse? If it is plus, it is favorable, or standard price is more, actual price is less. So obviously it will be favorable because your cost is less. Moving on. Give me the number for material B. What is actual quantity? 110. Good. Into standard price of B. 30 or 34? Standard price of material B is 30 or 34? Why are you getting confused and giving me 34? Standard price is here, na? 30. Actual price is 34. So 30 minus 34. Now tell me how much? Minus 440, which means it's gonna be adverse. In other words, standard price is 30, actual price is 34. So which means your actual cost of materials are high, correct? Which means your actual profit would have got reduced. Therefore, it is adverse. Are we done? So total material price variance for these two put together. 260 adverse. Good. Is this clear? Shall we move to the next one? Right, very good. Let's move on. Material price variance is done. What is the next variance I need to calculate? Don't do anything, just participate. Material usage variance is equal to. What is the formula? Usage. Usage, what is the formula? 1 minus 3, right? What is 1? SQ into SP. What is 3? AQ into SP. So 1 minus 3, correct? Let's take the common. What is common here? standard price into SQ minus AQ. Correct? Now again, this also we need to calculate for whom and whom. We need to calculate for material A. Correct? Then we also need to calculate this for material B. Chalo, now let's start. Do I know SP? Standard price of material A. How much is standard price of material A? So it is available here. How much is that? 20. So 20 into SQ means what? Hereafter, if you say standard quantity, I'll send you out of the class. Okay? SQ means what? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished good. Am I an idiot to explain you that? And if I ask you why you are saying standard quantity, huh? Repeatedly you are repeating that. Don't do that. When I ask you SQ, what you should say? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished good. That should be the answer. Now, do I have that information in the question? Do I have SQ there? See in the question. SQ means standard quantity of raw material required for actual output. Is it given? Is it given or not given? Not given. Correct? Then we need to calculate. Now the question is how to calculate, because actual quantity consumed is given for actual output. Standard quantity data is given, that's all. 40% will be material A, 60% will be material B, that's all. Standard loss is given, but he did not give you how much of standard quantity of raw metal consumed for actual output, which means we need to calculate. So therefore, what we'll do, we'll go to a working note. Working note, similar to the last sum, we need to calculate what? SQ. What is SQ? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of, actual output is enough. That's nothing but finished good, na? Output means finished good, obviously, right? Now, how to calculate this? We need to do this both for A as well as B. That is the problem. Now, how to do this? Pretty simple. You have the output over here. Let's take that first. Now, we know that input minus loss is equal to what, Nana? Output. Correct? We have seen this from process costing chapter. Now this output information is given. What is that? 182 kg. Yeah? Correct? So input I don't know. Minus standard loss is nothing but your output. Correct? Input I don't know. Standard loss is how much? So let's say 10. How much is the loss? 10%. So which means let's presume this as 100%. Then the output should be how much? 90%. Correct? So which means this 182 kg represents what, Nana? 90%. Isn't it? Whole ray? Right. Then I get input. Tell me how much it comes. That is equal to 182 by 90%. How much you get? 202.22. What is this 202.22? Kgs of raw material, both A and B put together. Both A and B put together. I need A separately, I need B separately. Do I have any information for that in the question? Yes. How much is A? 40%, B 60%. That's the standard mix. So A is 40%, B is 60%. So tell me how much it comes. What, Nana? A is 80.88. Alright, B 121.33. Is that it? Hello? Is that it? Everybody got it? Inshallah. So what did we do? Very simple. We took the output. We know that this output is after loss. Correct? So if you add back the loss, we should be getting what? Input. Now you might be thinking, sir, if you add back the loss, how are we getting standard input? Very simple, because SQ is nothing but standard input, na? Because we are adding back standard loss, not the actual loss. If you add back actual loss, you'll be getting actual input. If you add back standard loss, you'll be getting standard input. Got the point? Yes. So I went with standard loss. I added back the standard loss. Therefore, whatever the input I've got is what input? Whatever the input that I've got is what input? Standard input. Standard input. Got the point? This is nothing but standard input. Standard quantity of raw metal means raw metal is input. Get the point? I've got it. I've got for A and B put together. I know what is A, what is B, because it's given in the question. 40% is A, 60% is B. Done. Chalo. Now let's take this. Now give me the numbers. A is how much? 80.88. Correct? Minus. Actual quantity kitna re? Actual quantity. When I ask you, you answer. Right? Everybody. I'm not asking you to keep mum in the class. Right? How much is actual quantity of A? 90 kg. Got the information here. Correct? Right. Chalo. 90. That's it. Now give me the number. 182.4. I think it's because of approximation. This 80.8888, how much you have got? 3. It is 8888. That's okay. Approximation chalta hai. Right. 182.4. Now tell me, favorable or adverse? Why adverse? Negative, it is adverse. Second thing is, your standard quantity of raw material consumption is less. Your actual quantity is more. So when you have actually consumed more raw material, what will happen to your actual cost? It will increase. If actual cost increases, what will happen to actual profit? It will reduce. When actual profit reduces, the variance is adverse. Moving on to next one. Now for B, you tell me. What is standard price of B? Standard price of B, 30 into standard quantity of B, 121.33, minus actual quantity of B. Here you have 110. Correct? Right. Tell me how much it comes. 339.9. Or we can take approximation also. It's okay. Favorable. Why? Standard quantity is more, actual quantity is less. Correct? So therefore your actual cost will be less, actual profit will be more. When actual profit increases, it should be favorable, or positive, favorable, negative, adverse. Right. Are we done with this? Chalo, give me the total. 1.5. Favorable or adverse? Favorable. That's it. So we're done with material price variance. We're done with material usage variance. Anything else we have got? That's it. Cost variance also we need to calculate. Okay, let's do that. Material cost variance is equal to, what is the formula? No. First give me the normal formula based on numbers. 1 minus 2. Okay, what is 1? SQ into SP. Okay, next, what is 2? Fantastic. Now, one by one we'll go. First, I'll start with material A. Do I need material A and B here, or it's given together? Right, same stuff. Material A. Tell me, Nana. Standard quantity into standard price. What is standard quantity for material A? Just now we have calculated, na? 80.88 into standard price. 20, yeah? There in the question. Minus actual quantity into actual price. What is actual quantity? 90. Actual price? 80, na? Everything is there in the question, na? Actual quantity 90, actual price 18. That is there. Standard price is also there in the question, which is 20. Only thing that we have calculated is standard quantity, which we have calculated here. Correct? Tell me how much it comes. What is that? Just 2, 2.4 is what you have got. That's it? Right. Next. Adverse. Next. Material B. Standard quantity is how much? 121.33 into standard price. 30 minus actual quantity. Actual quantity in the question. 110 into 34. How much? 100.1. What is that 100.1? Adverse. Total 102.5. Adverse. Right. Okay, now let's do the verification here, checking. How to check? Very simple. Material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. What is our cost variance? 102.5, correct? Is equal to price variance kitna? 260 adverse. Plus usage variance how much? There is usage variance. 157.5 favorable. How much it comes, see? Exactly 102.5. That's it. Got it? Right, chalo, take it down. Take it down, Nana. You got any doubts, you ask me. Once we're done with this, we'll have a break. Finished? Can you scroll down? So let's call this as working note 1. Here I'll write within brackets working note 1. Okay, that's how we got those numbers. Finished, Nana? Can I scroll down? Chalo. Can I scroll down? Right. Right, Nana. Finish it off. Let's have a short break after this. After that, we'll continue. Finished, huh? Chalo. Let's have a short break, guys. After that, we'll continue.